you need to.
Okay, so Ruth, if there's anything I'm missing, do say, because you know what your assignment is, but I'm not an expert on your assignment. And clearly I'm not a teacher, so I'm an accountant, I'm the finance director, I'm the finance director for the Lighthouse Learning Trust, which is the umbrella organisation that Richard Taunton College sits under. So Anne-Marie's asked me if I come and talk to you about the Lighthouse Learning Trust as an example of an organisation, really. So it just happens to be the one you're studying in. So the Lighthouse Learning Trust is like in some ways it's a business like any other business, except that it's different. So today, I guess for you guys is about understanding differences between this and the other organisations. That's sort of what you're trying to kind of get from me today. So this is your session. If I'm not telling you what you need to know, then ask, right? Because I'm not a teacher, you know what you need, so you've got to ask me. And Ruth, I know will help chip in if I'm not quite telling you what you need to know. So my understanding is you want to understand business ownership, what this particular type of business's structure is that right? So ownership and liability, the Lighthouse Learning Trust is a multi-academy trust. Do any of you come from schools which were academies? Yeah, anybody else? Academy? Was your school an academy? Okay, well, in some parts of the country nearly all schools are academies, but perhaps not so many in the local area. So a multi-academy trust just means more than one. So we might have more than one academy within the trust. So Richard Taunton College has a legal status of being an academy. And the government, you may know this, I don't know, the government has really pushed quite hard right across the country to get schools to become academies. So that's what our two colleges are. So two colleges, does anybody know the other college? That's right, yes, St Vincent College. So that's based down at Gosport. And the reason why, because we're quite a long way apart, aren't we, sort of 45-minute drive, as I know, so I'm down the 27. So the reason the two came together is that these two colleges had a really long history of collaborating, working together. So the deputy principal here a few years ago became the principal of Gosport, St Vincent College, and they continued to work together, and then they shared a finance director, my predecessor, sort of worked for both. So they've got this sort of long history of collaborating, and then they decided to become academies and come together in this umbrella organisation, the Lighthouse Learning Trust, Multi-Academy Trust, which in terms of its legal status is a company limited by guarantee. So have you done all about limited companies? Is that ringing a bell? Public limited companies, private limited companies, ringing bells? So the difference here between, is it Aura?
Aura events,
Aura events. It's just this twiddly bit here, company limited by guarantee. It's just slightly different to sort of like a normal limited company.
We haven't looked specifically at the difference between public and private limited yet, but we've looked at limited and unlimited liability.
Yeah, okay.
So that's
Public limited in essence means you can buy shares in it. Does any of you own shares? Ever thought about owning shares? Nothing to stop you. So you can buy shares in a public limited company. That just goes to a broker and you buy them. You probably do it online. But you can't buy shares in a private limited company. So if you want to know the difference between a company limited by guarantee, it sounds like you need to know it. This is a real pretty easy. I just told you the difference. So it's just about how it's just slightly different because we're a non-profit making company. So Aura, so you met Aura, didn't you? So their directors came in. So their directors, is it right, they were also the owners of the business? Is that what you understood? That they owned the business? So they were the directors and the shareholders. So in non-profit organisations, the directors don't own the business. Yeah, but they do have a kind of liability in the event that the business gets wound up, which is fairly unusual, fairly unlikely in a sort of kind of college environment. So we're a company limited by guarantee, but we're also a charitable trust. Do any of you know anything about trusts? No? No. Fair enough. What do you think when you hear the word trust? What kind of things do you think about? Sorry?
National Trust.
Yeah, the National Trust, yeah. I think that would be a charitable trust. It sort of suggests something about working together, kind of trusting each other, doesn't it? About working collaboratively, perhaps, about taking collective decisions, about doing things for the greater good, perhaps, doing things for the good of the whole. So all those things apply to our charitable trust. So we're not here to make profit. We're not here to increase the value, the size of the estate or whatever. We're not here to pay out bigger and bigger dividends each year. We're not here to increase the value of the shareholder and so on. So we're here essentially to give, to fulfil our objectives, which we're going to come on and talk about. If you look, the directors of this business are actually volunteers. So we produce our statutory accounts, and if you want to look at our statutory accounts, they're on the website or they're registered at Companies House, like any other company. So that's a public document. That's our accounts for the year ended August 2019. So set of statutory accounts, like any other limited company, and it tells you stuff about the organisation, including the fact that the trustees, or the directors, or the members, like all same word, members, trustees, directors, kind of same thing in this context. So they actually have, in the event that this business was wound up, they would have a liability to pay £10 each. So it's not unlimited liability, but it's limited to £10. And they're volunteers, so you're not going to get a volunteer to become a trustee if there's some unlimited liability. You've got to limit the liability of those volunteers. And it's this company limited by guarantee structure that enables that to happen. So does that answer what we need to know about liability? Yeah? Not like unlimited liability where essentially you could lose everything. You could lose your home, you could lose, lose the shirt on your back kind of thing. So it's limited. The liability of those trustees is limited. So the next thing is, what's the purpose of our business? And so our mission, so this is like a mission statement. Hopefully it's on our website. So our mission is to deliver high quality education and training which creates ambition for all and promotes social mobility in its members' communities. How does that sound as a mission? Does that mean anything to you?
Objectives, main objective.
It's quite high level, isn't it, as an objective? It's quite sort of broad. I guess mission statements tend to be quite broad. But really, so we're about high quality education in its essence, that's it. Ambition for all. That's about you guys having an ambition for what you want to do next. And it's our job as a trust to do everything we can to help you take the next steps you want to take. And then social mobility, that's about, again, it's about staying, making sure that every single one of you can progress to the next thing that you want to do, whether that's get an apprenticeship, get a job, go to university, set up your own business. Anybody keen to set up their own business? Yeah? Anyone else? You all doing business? Maybe not yet, maybe just thinking about it, maybe just got a bit of an idea about what that business could be. You know, that's our job, it's to set you on the path. We can't give you everything, but you know, we can set you on the path. Okay, so that's our mission, and our kind of our purpose. There's probably stuff there as well around, you know, providing a safe environment for you guys, for students, but primarily it's about education. The next thing I think you want to know about is what sort of sector we're in. So are you all kind of fairly clear on what non-profit making is? Yeah. What are the other sort of typical examples of non-profit making? Charities, yeah. There's a kind of organisation called social enterprise, which is a bit of an interesting one. Have you covered that?
No, I don't think they've specifically covered. They've covered non-profit organisations, but not social enterprises specifically.
Social enterprises are sort of a little bit of a halfway house, I think, between a pure charity and a company. So it's sort of there to, it is sort of there to make money, but it's money to then be ploughed back into the, whatever the social objectives are. Normally something with normally a big community, small community, a specific thing within the community. Sector, so we're tertiary, I guess. You know, no. There's a phrase as well, which I don't really know very well. It's quaternary.
Quaternary.
It's not something that I use very often in my work. So bits of us, perhaps if we were doing any research, for example, that might come under that. Scope, so we're quite fairly local, but we have a lot of nationally kind of laid down stuff. You know, education, the government loves to kind of get involved, doesn't it, in education, so it sets down loads of rules. It's got Ofsted, it's got national curriculum, it's got, you know, you name it, the government likes to sort of prescribe it, set out the rules. And of course we get our funding from the government. Size, well, income last year in the accounts about 13 million across the two colleges. So I don't know, how does that compare with Aura? What was their turnover? What was their income? Anybody remember? I can't remember.
No, I can't remember my head.
Yeah. And we employ around, so I signed the payroll yesterday, as I do each month. So we're paying 390 people this Friday. And that's probably about the average for the year. And that's again across the two colleges and all the trust, the people like me who kind of work in the middle across both colleges. So that's our size.
So the income is higher, but so is the scope of the business and the scale of it. So we've got to think about how many people are being paid and where the money's actually going.
Yeah. So Ruth wants me to talk to you about the reasons, you know, what's the measure of our success? Well, actually, what I was asked is what are the reasons for our success? But I'll call it the measure of success. So what do you think? You've been in education, you know it firsthand. What do you think is the measure? How will you judge it? Whether Richard Taunton's good for you? How will you judge that?
We can go on to further education, provide us the skills to do so.
Yeah. So maybe going on to more education.
If it benefits your future.
Sorry?
If it benefits your future.
Yeah.
So like, say even if you don't want to go into education, if you want to go into an apprenticeship, if the A-levels or even the staff can help push you in that direction, because you might not know what you want to do or how to go about it. They can help you then. It's success.
Yeah. And it really has. The last group, which I did just before lunch, were asked the same question, and they, 2 or 3 of them said exam grade, and then another one said exam results, and another one said so you've already answered it a bit differently, and I think your answers are a bit broader, because it isn't about the exam grade that somebody gets that defines whether or not they've done well. So for one person, a grade, you know, it's brilliant, that is the best they could possibly get. For another, for another individual, you know, they might think, oh, you know, I could have done better than that. At St Vincent, we have like a school within the college called the School of Personalised Learning. We have about 170 learners who have EHCPs. So some of those students have quite significant learning disabilities. Now for them, some of them will never take a single exam. Now clearly the measure of our success is not about whether they got a distinction star in their BTEC. For them it's about whether or not they are then able to progress perhaps to independent living or get a job, get a supported internship. So it's all about, whether the measure, I think, when you look back on, in a couple of years' time, you'll say, was Richard good for me? I very much hope you'll say, well, actually, yeah, because it got me to the next stage. You won't just say, oh, it's because I got a grade, whatever, and obviously I hope you get, great grades. So for an education establishment, the measures of success, obviously exam results is somewhere in there, and it is important, but this thing here is an education thing that measures that sort of whether or not you've done better than you thought you ever possibly could. So that's a much better measure, isn't it? Because if you come away going, bloody, oh goodness, I didn't think I would ever get that. I was on track for that. Actually, I did way better. Then we've really added something. That's what that thing is. Destination, where you go, versus getting where you want to go. Student numbers overall, on the face of it, if you have loads of students coming in, that might say we're doing something right, but not always. Demographics, if the demographics, i.e. the number of young people in an area kind of going down, then it's pretty unlikely that colleges are going to see rising numbers, but it doesn't mean to say they're not doing their job properly. Same thing with market share, lots of things influence it. Ofsted, they've got quite a narrow focus on what they deem to be outstanding, and it, perhaps is a bit too heavily focused on, sort of this type of stuff, exam type of stuff, and they probably don't actually take into account the fact that some schools have got kids who come from quite challenging backgrounds, perhaps you're in a city school, what that school achieves is in a very different context to, a school in a, really affluent middle class area. And often, not necessarily that new, that subtle about picking up on that and adjusting how they kind of the grade they give. And then financial health. Now that one's obviously quite important to me as the finance director. So for me it's a balance, always a balancing act between having enough money to spend on you guys, the students who are in college today, but making sure that we're financially sustainable. So you heard that word, that phrase, sort of financial sustainability, that long-term existence. Having enough money to be around next year, the year after, and in 5 years' time. So that for me, that financial health measure of success, that long-term sustainability is quite important. I do a lot of work on 5-year forecasts, so I'm not just thinking about this year and trying to make sure that we spend enough money on you guys and on the teachers like Ruth, but on making sure that we've got enough money to be here in 5 years' time. So that was that bit. That's about success. So we answered that. Is there anything else you need on that?
Can I just put back to market share, where we've got market share written up there. Remember that as a business, we automatically are going to have some competition. So who do we share the market with as Richard Taunton Sixth Form College? Can anyone think of who else is in the market? What other businesses, what colleges? Barton Peveril, absolutely. Anything else?
Who else did you apply to? Think about applied. City College maybe? Itchen.
Yeah.
Brockenhurst maybe?
So our market share is how much of the sort of, I suppose, 16 to 19-year-old learners we are responsible for, and what proportion of the market we actually have. And that's against our competitors, but as we've already pointed out as well, there are other paths when you leave year 11 at school, so not everybody has decided to come to a sixth form college necessarily, so they may have gone elsewhere as well, and that needs to be taken into consideration. So it's the proportion of learners that we have responsibility for in this case.
Yeah. Okay, I think next we'll talk about stakeholders. And I think the suggestion is that you focus on 3 stakeholders and you kind of understand, we think about which, you just pick 3. Any preference which ones? How about yourselves? Because you guys are customers, aren't you? So you're the most important stakeholders in this college. You're external, aren't you? In the sense, although you're very much part of the college now, you come from outside, and in a couple of years' time, most of you will have moved on. So you're sort of external. Who else? Perhaps teachers. They are hugely important stakeholders in education and in our trust. What about these people? The governors and trustees, so they're like the directors, they are the directors. So what do you need to know about stakeholders? How do they influence us? That's the question, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's how the stakeholders influence have influences in the different businesses.
So how do you guys, how do you think you can influence this business? Tell me ways you think you can influence people like me.
Success.
Yeah, just simply by that, I don't know whether it's great exam results or giving some good publicity perhaps to the college through, being part of a team that does this or a performance or whatever. What about bad publicity? How many of you post stuff on social media about you? You talk to people, don't you? So every time you talk to somebody, whether it's face to face or whether you putting something out there, you are having an influence on the success or otherwise of this organisation.
Yeah, remember, influence doesn't always have to be good. It can be positive or negative. So you're just thinking about how the stakeholders can impact at all. So yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, so influence. The question I think you want to answer is how they could influence our success. They could influence it adversely. So if you're not happy, you might be, being saying quite critical things to people you know, to anyone. Yeah. Then are you all aware that there's like a local governing body and that we have a student representative on a local governing body? Have any of you thought about getting on that? You could do. Absolutely. We really need people. You guys, you do have a voice. So you could get onto that local governing body who is a way of feeding up to the trustees what you think about the place, good and bad. So you can have a voice there. So you have lots of ways of influencing.
You also have the student union as well that
Yeah.
you can be a part of, and in tutor representatives and things like that. So
Yeah.
it gives you an immediate sort of influence. If you've got ideas or suggestions for anything,
You can
feedback.
You can talk to the head of college, you can talk to me, you can see us in the corridors, talk to us. So, primarily it's it's whether or not you're happy customers that, has the biggest impact on, I would say, on our success as an organisation. Or otherwise, if you're not happy customers. Who are the other? Teachers. So teachers are, you're coming to the end of your compulsory education, aren't you? Your teachers have been the absolutely crucial people all the way through in life. So what influences the teachers, do you think?
The students.
Yeah. That's a bit of a circle, but what else influences them? Yeah. Working conditions? I don't know, can you tell them?
Well,
How can you influence?
so how we influence the
success of the
business, the
organisation.
success of the business, yeah. Well, if we're motivated and obviously committed, I mean, money's an interesting one because it's not really the sort of job you go into just for the pay scale, if I'm honest. So there has to be something more to it. So you'll probably find in most cases that teachers are motivated by the students, by the passion for their subject, by their students' success. That's the main motivator. So what we want to do is we want to influence the business into allowing us to do that as easily as possible. So we would make sure that we feed back on a regular basis what we think would make the conditions for your work, for you better, how we feel you would be more successful, and we take that to management and board of trustees essentially, and they then take our views on board and try to action them if possible. So that's how we influence.
And I think that listening to teachers and listening to students is really good. It's a really crucial part of what education establishments do. Are we doing it well enough? I don't know, probably not all the time, if I'm honest. I mean, one of the things we've tried to do this term, and we are doing, is we're saying hello to you guys when you come in the morning. We're trying to be really, that's a recognition that we need to be talking to you guys more. We need to open those lines of communication. We need to show you, actually, that we really care that you're here. We're really glad that you're here. And we look forward to seeing you every morning. It's as simple as that. It's about showing your customers that you care. So we're trying to get better at it, aren't we? And you might tell us, well, we've still got a way to go. So keep telling us. Okay, so that's about stakeholders and how they influence our business. We've talked about you guys, students, teachers. I guess the governors and trustees one is an interesting one because they're the volunteers who've agreed to sort of help run this business at the top. They're not paid. I'll tell you this, I'm a trustee for another school over the other end of Hampshire. There's scheduled work, you're doing your own time, reading papers, going to meetings, and there's a lot to do in your own time. But but we can really influence because we can make decisions about how much to spend on this, about a pay rise that's proposed for staff, about whether or not we're going to replace IT machines, whether we're going to, run this new qualification or that new qualification, but we're not experts. Trustees aren't experts very often. They might be business people, they might not. And why should they be? Any of you guys could become a trustee of an academy. I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but I think possibly have to be on team, but most of you will soon be on team, I guess. So you could actually be part of the organisation, sort of like director level, and arguably the trustees, the people sitting on that, should be representative of the communities that they're here to support. So arguably you guys should, somebody should be on that, a student should be on that board of trustees, because they bring that student voice, they bring that, this is what it's like at the coalface. Don't forget the student. Where's the student in all this? So the governors and trustees have, they play quite a part, but it's not the be all and the end all, because they are volunteers, and they might only work, they might only sort of serve the organisation for 3 or 4 years, or sometimes it's only a year or two. But it's a really interesting one in the non-profit making sector. It's very different to the directors of the company who you saw, because for them that is their business, it is their baby. They have so much skin in the game, they have complete skin in the game, don't they? It's their livelihood, they invest in money, they live it and breathe it day in, day out. Contrast trustees who are volunteers, they've got their own jobs perhaps, they do other things, they come in for meetings, half a dozen times a term, not experts in education. So it's quite an interesting structure. All right, so that's stakeholders. You'll have to let me know how we're doing the time.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So the next one is it about documents? Communication. And I think is this what you need to do for your these questions you need to answer for your assignment? So my kind of examples about the types of documents are going to tend to be a bit more financial. So before I come to them, there's a whole range of documents that trusts like this produce. So this is an example of a strategic plan that the other college in Luton has recently published. So we'll have plans, we'll have prospectuses, we'll have documents probably for each course guide.
Yes.
We'll be doing all sorts of marketing type things generally. We have to do things like self-assessment plans, self-assessment reviews for the whole college. The head of college has to sort of pull together this immense sort of review of how good do we think we've been over the last 12 months, sort of quality review document. I don't tend to get so involved in those types of things. From the financial point of view, my team produces a set of statutory accounts. So accounts like any other limited company, so we have to publish it with the company's house, we put it on a website, 60 pages, it's a bit dry, a bit heavy, but that's quite a formal bit of written communication that comes out every year. Management accounts. So I produce, my team, we produce management accounts every month, and most businesses, whether they're non-profit making education or whether they're like Aura, they will produce some sort of financial management accounts each month, because you need to know whether you're on track, you need to know how your money's doing. So that's that document, and that's the detail behind it, so it's like screens of detail about how the money's coming in and how the money's going out. Have you talked about balance sheets yet? Balance sheets, profit and loss account?
Statement of financial position,
Yeah.
balance sheet,
Yeah.
as we term it, and the income statements we looked
Yeah.
at as well.
Yeah. So that's what you've got in management accounts. Cash flow forecasts, you talk about those.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure you've got enough money, enough cash for the next 12 months. It's not so much about what's happened in the past, it's about what's going to happen in the future. So a lot of this management account stuff is about what's going to happen in the future, what's going to happen in the future. Because what's happened, I can't do anything about. All I can do is try and change the future. So management accounts.
So those are the sorts of documents you looked at ready for your exam that you came back to in January, the personal and business finance unit.
And then the third example, perhaps you might want to think about is KPIs, key performance indicators it stands for. Most businesses will have key performance indicators. So they are the key things that kind of flag up how well or how badly you're performing. Have you come across KPIs? Well, they are different for every business. So you report what's most important for your business. So we have things like so the sort of the surplus, so that's income less expenditure is the surplus. Is that the terminology you used? Yeah. So surplus is a percentage of income. So we've sort of targeted 3% surplus. We've got things like staff costs as a percentage of income. So how much do you reckon? What proportion of staff? What proportion of total income do you reckon is accounted for by the staff costs? Any vague feel for it? Sorry? 17?
Yeah, 17.
Not far off. It could be, might be more like 80. Yeah, 80. And the problem is, and this, you know, not into big political, but government funding over the last 7-8 years for post-16 has literally stood still. Yeah? Which, when you've got inflation going up, running at 2-3% each year, means that in real terms you're getting less money each year. So Anne-Marie, we need to pay her a pay rise. So, but if the government money that you're getting from the government per student is flatlining, that means you've got less and less money, which is what, so 80%, staff cost 80% of income, not sustainable. But that's the situation a lot of colleges are in. Government's taken a really hard line in the last 8-9 years on post-16 education. Can I get off my... Well, actually, that's a matter of fact. It's not a political thing. That is a matter of fact.
Yes.
So, back to KPIs. So, surplus as a percentage of income, 3%. Now, we don't make that every year. We did do it last year, but we had to really tighten our belt. Another... Have you done ratios yet? Have you done any... Have you covered any ratios? Yeah. So, don't know which ones you've covered, but current ratio.
Yeah.
Does that all ring a bell? So I literally publish current ratio. I publish cash days, so the amount of how many days, so how many days will that cash sort of last us, shall we say, in terms of paying all our bills. So some key ratios. Oh, sickness absence. So most businesses, whether they're education, whatever business it is, the cost of people being off sick is huge. It is eye-wateringly huge. If I said to you, it'll be £200,000 this year for this trust. £200,000 cost of absence. It's really big. So that, those would be examples of KPIs that we publish. How are we doing for time?
15 minutes we've got. Just remember when you're looking at the documents and remember who they are, which sort of stakeholders they're relevant to. So just so that, so for example, when you were coming round to look round and decided on Richard Taunton, you would have looked at the prospectus, but you wouldn't be going through all of the financial accounts and things like that, or the strategic plan. But so different stakeholders would be interested in different documents is the key as well.
So your prospectuses or whatever might be students, parents probably like to pick it up and, I'm sure some of you did look at it, but parents like that sort of thing, don't they? Statutory accounts, who do you think might be interested in that? Can we just go back to our stakeholders list?
Oh yeah, sorry. There we go.
Yeah, so Statutory accounts, so ESK, sorry, that's not very good language. That's the basically Department for Education. So the Department for Education, very interested in what our statutory accounts looks like.
Yes. Very much so.
And in fact, they like it so much that we not only have to produce the 60-page document, but we also then have to regurgitate it into a different format, that we then have to upload into a portal. And I got a question back last week saying, there's a difference of £2,000 between the number you quoted in this one and the number you put into the portal. And I'm like, okay, well I'm glad you're looking at it. Because there's a lot of work went into it. So the government were really interested. Trustees would be really interested. Other competitors. So if I want to know about a college, and this is a bit of a sad thing really, I like to look at their statutory accounts because I can glean quite a bit from them. However, I have to say it is really heavy going if you're not an accountant. So I can understand why nobody looks at this except that. But I can learn quite a bit from another college. So if I want to know about a competitor college, which I sometimes do, then I'll look at their statutory accounts. Loads of useful information. What else? Sorry. So for the management accounts, so that would be maybe the employees. So we might talk to employees, but probably governors and trustees and the management team. We want to look at the management accounts. What was the other one we did? KPIs. Probably the same groups of people. To some extent, employees. Right, what we want to do next? So kind of more like verbal communication, as opposed to the written stuff. In terms of what I do, I present to trustees, I present to the senior leadership teams of both colleges, I talk to the local governing bodies, I talk to external stakeholders, but not that many, I suppose, if I'm honest. But that's just me, because I'm the finance director. If Lee, who's the head of college, was here, she'd be saying, well, she talks to loads of other Southampton schools and colleges and the local authority, and she would be talking to, who else would she be talking to?
Students.
Of course, students, parents.
Parents.
Yeah,
employees.
Loads of students and parents, and loads of employees. Some of it's formal, quite a lot of it's, just the conversations that need to happen. Was that sort of answer?
Yeah, that's right. Just think about how we communicate on social media as well.
Yeah.
So we have Facebook, Richard Taunton Sixth Form College has a Facebook page and we've got a Twitter account as well. So just thinking about how technology has influenced how we communicate as well.
Can I just ask on that? How many of you looked at Facebook, Twitter or any other social media in terms of how you made your decision to come here? Did you look at it? Sorry?
Came on like 18 days.
Came on 8 days? Right. Anyone else? How did you make your decision? Go on.
Cousin came here, so he told me about it.
Cousin?
Okay, so that's like word of mouth.
Yeah. Anyone else? Parents?
I did see the advert.
Yeah.
That was after I was on
Where did you see the advert?
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
So who else saw the Instagram? Did it influence you?
Nah.
After? No. So do we misunderstand how important social media is then?
Yeah. Because if you see an advert, you kind of
Just ignore it.
Yeah, you just want to look at what you're looking
Yeah.
for.
What about what other people write about here? Does that influence you more?
I don't know, it depends. So that's more word of mouth.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know anyone that will post on socials talking about how they look like this college. You might just be like, oh, I don't want to go to college, that's about it.
So it's more, so you might see the negative stuff on social media
Yeah,
that your friends are saying, rather than the positives.
definitely.
Oh, that's quite tricky though, isn't it? So how do we So we think that social media is really important, but I think what you're saying is it might be not be as important as you think it is. Is that right?
Yeah, I feel like it's important in a different way.
What's the different way?
I don't know, maybe like promoting stuff the college does, not just promoting art during the college or whatnot, or like this college is good, saying like, okay, we're doing like a trip to this place, and like showing that what we do here.
So showcasing
Yeah.
kind of more exciting stuff.
So I think the Facebook page kind of tries to do that, but is anyone here actually following or like a member of the Facebook page?
I don't use Facebook, I can't trust
No,
it.
okay, fair enough. But you know what I mean, it's okay for us to put these things on there, but if then people aren't accessing them,
Yeah.
you know, then no one will see them.
Would they have seen it?
Maybe.
You know, they might genuinely not know it exists, sort of thing, so it might be, it might be missing the mark a little bit there. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so that's communication. Organisation structure, I think you need to know a bit about this, don't you? What do you want to know about this?
So we need to know about the functional areas
Okay,
and the structure of the business.
so you want to know about,
So I can fill in where we need to.
so this is like, so the teaching side is sort of like not shown on this org chart. This is just about the functions, you know, so what I would call the support departments. So you've got the teaching staff like Ruth sits under a completely separate org chart, which we're not showing you because that's not what you want to know today. So this
It does come later, I think.
Oh, does it? Okay. All right. So do you know what CEO is?
Like,
Do you know what it stands for?
company, something, I don't know.
Chief Executive Officer.
Office, yeah.
So that's Matt. So he's my boss. That's me. Some people put this on. Our finance director, CFO, just sounds way too grand. All right. So although I do have some things not finance, so these guys are my accountants. So like the IT team reporting to me through the IT manager, premises, estates and facilities through Graham. Then we've got HR, so there's a human resources team and under Louisa. And then we've got sort of the MIS, which is all about management information, and student funding, which is horrendously complicated in 2016, and all about sort of data on student statistics. So these are the support teams. There's a key word here which is shared. So these, we're not just doing this for Richard Taunton, we're doing it for St Vincent as well. And if we added another academy into the trust, we do it for all three. So we share these services across all our academies. If you think, so why does the government want to join all these academies together into these multi-academy trusts? What's the simple economic benefit that you get? Sorry? It's kind of, it's sort of linked to funding, isn't it? Isn't it about the fact that you've only got one finance director and one HR director? So you're sharing resources, which are kind of economies of scale. Have you come across that?
Economies of scale. Yeah, we've touched upon it.
So we share. So Louisa and Graham, for example, have been in work for Richard Taunton for years and years and years. They previously worked for one college. Now they do the same job for two colleges. So in that way, we spend more money on students, on front line, on teaching, and less on our support services. So it's all about being more efficient, economies of scale, and yeah.
So instead of having two HR directors, one for each college, where we've got to pay them the same amount as each other, we've got one HR director who oversees both colleges or any colleges that would be within the trust. Are we happy with what the Human Resources Department or functional area does? So right from the moment of advertising a position or even doing a workforce plan where they identify that there's a gap and we need to recruit somebody, they then oversee the staff from recruitment through their selection and training, so any interview processes, making sure they're trained up, any appraisals, making sure they're doing their jobs properly, that sort of thing, all the way through the time that they work here until they leave. So through retirement or whatever the reason may be. So they're in charge of the human resource, literally, of the college. In charge of all the people.
Yeah, remember that's 80% of our cost base is human, is our human capital, our human resources. They're a really important resource. IT, I guess you know that's all the desktops and servers and firewalls and all that really important stuff. Wi-Fi, telephones, finance. I guess kind of got a flavour of it from me. It's about accounts and money and transactions and paying people and getting money in. Payroll, we haven't talked about payroll in our organisation, sits under in the human resources team, so they make sure that people like me and myself get paid each month. Hopefully we'll get paid on Friday because I did sign off the payroll.
Hopefully.
So these exist in all types of businesses. You know, regardless of their education, or Aura will have their equivalent of all of those types of people.
Yes.
But this is
So this is our specific college.
Yeah. The teaching teams are all over this side. And then you've got other sort of support teams, you've got exams, marketing, which we talked about, you've got the student welfare team, and then sort of the customer service front of house, reception, all that.
So these are the other functional areas that we can go into in a bit more detail because they're a little bit more specific to the college. But we've just got a couple of minutes to wrap up now.
Okay.
So whatever you want to finish on really, and then I can fill in any gaps that there are.
So you've got one of our business aims and objectives, which I think is, so these are kind of like founding principles.
Smart target. Oh yeah, value principles. So
Yeah. These are on our website, so I'm not going to kind of go through them all, but these underpin what we're doing here and why we're doing it in the first place. And then the final thing, I think we need to know about smart targets. Do you all know what smart targets are? Do you know what SMART stands for?
Yeah.
Sorry? Oh yeah, I've done it.
Oh.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. It's specific. So so we talk about KPIs. You know, I said I have to produce these, and I have to produce them per month. They go to the trust board, they go to the senior leadership teams, and some of them go to the Department for Education, if they're that interested. So do we think that something like surplus as a percentage of income, 3%, does that sound like, is it smart? Is it specific? Does it sound specific? Is it measurable? You might want to ask, well, what period of time does it cover? You know, I'd say to you it's a year, because we have an accounting, you know, most organisations have a 1 year sort of cycle. Is it achievable? Well, I hope so, because you know, we need to set something which we can do. We've done it in the past, but every year something new happens. So depends how well we manage our finances. Should be achievable. Realistic? Same thing really, quite achievable. And time bound, yeah, it's a period of time, 1 year, and we will know by the end of the year whether or not we've done it. So it's an example. I don't know, I guess in terms of you might have some examples in how you see smart targets from the teaching side.
Yeah, so we would have smart targets for each of our classes, perhaps achievement-wise. We wouldn't usually do it by grade specifically, but maybe by value added or something like that. So expect everyone to increase their grade by 1 one above the national benchmark that they've been predicted or something like that. So yeah, that's how we would sort of incorporate it. And then for different businesses, they're going to have different targets because it's going to be based on their objectives and what they're trying to achieve. So that's how it's specific to the different enterprises. Thank you so much for your time. It's been really informative. Any questions that have come up, can you just write them down, and then what we'll do is we'll make sure that they're answered within the next lesson, so that it's really fresh in your mind, and I'll put this video on Google Classroom. Annette will be pleased to hear.
And if anybody, if any of you are interested in doing accountancy as a career, you're very welcome to come and talk to me or any of the team, because that's what you do. So if you want to hear about